Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Bahashim, Rachak Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops at Great Millstone for teaching me this truth. It's your brother Rabbi Nat coming out with a lesson, Lord's will, is edifying. Okay, let me share my screen and let's get to work. So as you know, shit's always going on every single day, and it's our job to watch. Let's look at that. Let's see what the watchman does. Okay. There's plenty of precepts on watchmen. Let's grab 2 Samuel 18 and 24. And David sat between the two gates, and the watchman went up to the roof over the gate unto the wall, and lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, a man running alone. And the watchman cried and told the king, and the king said, if he be alone, there is tidings in his mouth. And he came apace and drew near. And the watchman saw another man running, and the watchman called unto the porter and said, behold, another man running alone. And the king said, he also bringeth tidings. And the watchman said, he thinketh the running of the foremost is like the running of Ahimaaz, the son of Zadok. And the king said, he is a good man and cometh with good tidings. So he was reporting on he saw multiple things. Okay, he didn't just not say anything. Okay, he wasn't being a dumb dog. Okay, let's look at that word, dumb dog. I think it's in the book of or cannot bark. Let's see if I can find that. Salak. Isaiah 56 and 10. His watchmen are blind. They are all ignorant. They are all dumb dogs. They cannot bark, sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber. Okay, so there you go. So there's different type of watchmen out here, man. There's some that are dumb. They're ignorant, sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber. Okay, and if you don't say anything about it, then why consider yourself a watchman? Musk warns of financial disaster with big beautiful bill. Let's see what that's about. I forgot all about that. Big beautiful bill. What is it? I think somebody did it, showed that it underneath some of what's in the bill, it goes into AI. Okay, let's see what pops up when I put AI. Major green criticized for not reading Trump's big beautiful bill. Could ban states from AI regulation. When was this? 2025 to 27th. Let me see. And AI, what does it have to do? Let's see what Majority Taylor, what she got to say. Republican firebrand Marjorie Taylor Greene has drawn widespread criticism for Democratic colleagues for admitting that not only did she not read Donald Trump's tax and spending bill before voting for it, but she would have voted against it had she read thoroughly. Greene revealed she was unaware of a provision in Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act that would prevent states from regulating artificial intelligence systems for a decade. The Georgia representative said she would have voted against the entire bill. She had known about the AI language buried on pages 278 and 279. Full transparency, I did not know about this section on pages 278, 279. Let's see what this says. Okay, let's see if something pops up. That's 278. page is this? 278 and 279. What does it say? State Community Energy Programs is rescinded for the Office of Minority Economic Impact. What is it saying? The obligated amounts rescinded under subsection may not include amounts appropriated and made available to the Department of Energy. Under Public Law 117 and 169, what is this? Did I misread something? Maybe she said something about it. Democratic lawmakers who all voted against the bill responded with incredulity to Green's admission. You have one job to read the fucking bill, Representative Eric Shawwell wrote in response. He said, you got one job to read the fucking bill. Representative Ted Lieu said he had read the AI provision beforehand, and that's the one reason I voted no on the GOP's big, ugly bill. He posted on X. Pro tip, it's helpful to read stuff before voting on it. The Representative Mark Pocan was moved forward. Read the fucking bill instead of clapping for it like a performing monkey. You should have done your job while it was written. You didn't. You own that vote. This is foolishness, man. These people, man. The AI provision was added just 2 nights before the bill's markup. It would prohibit state and local governments from pursuing any law or regulation regulating artificial intelligence models, artificial intelligence systems, or automated decision systems for 10 years, unless the purpose is to facilitate deployment of such systems. Now, why the hell would you even propose something like that? Because you're the fucking devil. This is just that simple. Okay? Isaiah 10 and 1. Woe means death and destruction. Unto them, talking about the so-called white man, Esau, Edom, that decree unrighteous decrees. It's unrighteous. Okay? And I don't even know what's in the decree, but to not regulate something for 10 years while you implement some new technology. So the shit that it's doing, you can't regulate it. Let's look at this word, regulate. When you regulate something, I'm thinking control it in some type of way. So you're gonna have something like that, unregulated. Control or maintain the rate or speed of a machine or process so that it operates properly. So you can't regulate it. If it's not operating properly the way you said it was going to work, the way you're trying to mass produce it all over the world, and then if it doesn't do what it's you gonna market it as, we'll say, you can't do anything for 10 years. You can't change anything about it. Get the hell out of here. That's unrighteous. Because it can do anything. Okay? It could literally do anything, man. You know, I can't even think of so many scenarios. Ultimately, putting your ass to death, man. You know, people, oh, he died. Well, that's a one-off case. You know, that's not something that's, and then another one died. Oh, that, the we'll recall these two and we'll investigate it. And then it's just like you already mass produced them. You want to be able to fix all the kinks before you send something forth into into the public, into the population. But they don't give a fuck. Okay, they don't. They're pushing this because they're demons, man. Isaiah 10 and 1, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees in that right grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor, my people, the widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. Okay, so grievousness is what they're gonna prescribe. Okay, that's all it's for. Let's look at this word, grievousness, and it says trouble, wickedness, miserable, misery, worry, whether of body or mind, grievance, grievousness, okay? To produce of labor, weariness, trouble, vexation. can't trust these things, and you can't trust Esau. Okay, let's see what Elon Musk warns of financial disaster with Big Beautiful Bill. Elon Musk has publicly criticized a large congressional spending bill known as the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, describing it as a disgusting abomination due to its potential to increase the U.S. budget deficit significantly. His critique includes concerns over the bill's impact on national debt, suggesting it could lead to unsustainable financial burdens for American citizens and potentially drive the country towards fiscal insolvency. Ooh, Musk and his big words. Let's see what he's talking about. Fiscal insolvency occurs when a government or other entity is unable to meet its financial obligations, often because its liabilities exceeds its assets. This means the entity cannot pay its debts or expenses, even if it were to sell all of its assets. Sounds like Duck, a bankrupt duck. Okay, that's what he does. He bankrupts shit because he's not a good businessman. Okay. Let's go to the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2. And 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with the clay. Okay, that's talking about Esau. You laden yourself with the clay. Let's look at this word clay. How long? How long, Esau? And it says heavy debts. How long are you going to do this? Okay. How long? We would like to know. Musk would like to know. Are you going to become fiscal insolvent? You are. National debt. Thank you for showing this on my screen. 36 trillion 932 billion 266 million 416,016 dollars. You keep the change. Okay, that's how much they owe. Oh, I forgot. What was he saying yesterday? This immense level of overspending will drive America into debt slavery. Wow, just like the Bible says. Just like it says. Revelation chapter 6 in verse 5. Woo, the third seal, famine. And guess what? China, just 2 Chinese nationals just got caught. And guess what they were doing? They were trying to implement some agro-terrorism, they said. I never even heard of this shit. Okay? But this is what we're talking about. These are those fanners, man. Okay? These foreigners. Now the fanners also goes into these foreign countries that have nuclear capability, but also all of this shit is all gonna be implemented, man. Okay? Every time Ukraine is attacking deep into Russia, hey, that's fanning the fire to this, ultimately to this thermonuclear missiles. All these are different events or things leading up to the Jeremiah 51 and 1. Okay. Okay. So let's go there. Since I'm talking about it, why not? Jeremiah 51 and 1. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me a destroying wind. Talking about those thermonuclear missiles. And I will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her and shall empty her land, for in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. Okay, so these other nuclear capable countries are also going to help Russia bomb America. Okay, but these fanners also are gonna, there's things leading up to that and things like this. Things like this. And I'm gonna grab that article. Okay, but I want to go into the Zer. Okay. Stranger. Okay. says foreigner, an enemy. Okay, they came here to Babylon, which is America. All right. All right. So let me jump over here. Revelation 6 and 5. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, "Come and see." And I beheld, and lo, a black horse. And he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. Balances, zygos in the Greek, which means what? A yoke that is put on drought cattle, used of any burden or bondage. When you increase the goods that cost, the cost of goods, you got to work harder to get those goods. And when the jobs are being lost to automation, it's going to put a burden on you. How are you going to feed your food? All the way to the point where the Lord said, "I'm going to break the staff of bread." He literally said he's going to break the staff of bread. Okay. And you can see it happening. Isaiah 3 and 1. For behold the Lord of hosts, doth take away from Jerusalem and from Judah the stay and the staff, the whole stay of bread and the whole stay of water. Okay. So that's your resources, man, and your stability to eat. All right. Ezekiel 14 and 13. Son of man, when the land sinneth against me by trespassing grievously, yeah, you trespass by breaking the laws of God. Okay. 1 John 3 and 4. You committing sin, you transgressing. Okay. Then will I stretch out my hand upon it, and will break the staff of bread thereof, and will send famine upon it, and will cut off man and beast from it. So that's what he does. Okay. And that's what he's going to do. Okay. Leviticus 26 and 26. And when I have broken the staff of your bread, 10 women shall bake your bread in one oven, and they shall deliver you your bread again by weight, and ye shall eat and not be satisfied. So you're not going to have enough to sustain yourself. Okay, Ezekiel 100, Ezekiel. Psalms 105 and 16. Moreover, he called for a famine upon the land. He break the whole staff of bread. That's what he does. A staff is for stability. Okay, your stability to eat food, he'll break that. Moreover, he said unto me, Ezekiel 4:16, Son of man, behold, I will break the staff of bread in Jerusalem. Jerusalem is a people before it's a place. It's talking about you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. He's going to break your staff, man, of bread. And they shall eat bread by weight and with care, and they shall drink water by measure and with astonishment, because they ain't going to be enough. You're going to be amazed at how bad it's going to be out here. Ezekiel 5 and 16. When I shall send upon them evil arrows of famine, which shall be for their destruction, and which I will send to destroy you. And I will increase the famine upon you, and will break your staff of bread. So he said he's going to increase it. Okay. And I didn't even get to the article yet, because I'm talking about zygos, because he said over here something about debt slavery, and we went into the word clay in Habakkuk, the second chapter, and this is going into slavery, because what he said he's going to, we went into this word balances. Okay. Of troublesome laws imposed on one. Mosaic law, hence the name is so transferred to the commands of a Mashiach as to contrast them with the commands of the Pharisees, which are veritable yoke, yet even Hamashiach's commands must be submitted to, though easier to be kept. That's right. But it's a burden when you can't pay for your food. Okay. It's tough. Okay. Revelation 6 and 5 again. it says, and when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, "Come and see." And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard the voice in the midst of the four beasts say, "A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine." So, inflation. This is what that's talking about. Okay, a measure of wheat for a penny. A penny goes into a denarian, which is talking about a full day's pay to eat, to buy bread, man. Okay. A Roman silver coin in New Testament time, it took its name from its being equal to 10 asses, a number after 217 BC, increased to 16. It was the principal silver coin of the Roman Empire, which we are in Rome 2.0. That's what America is. From the parable of the laborers in the vineyard, it would seem that a denarius was then the ordinary pay for a day's wages. Okay, so it's going to cost a lot, man, to eat out here. Now let's see what this man's saying.
The U.S. is on an unsustainable fiscal path. The U.S. federal government's on an unsustainable fiscal path. And that just means
Oh, so he's saying what Musk is saying. Unsustainable fiscal path.
that the debt is growing faster than the economy.
The debt is growing faster than the economy. How long, Esau, were you lading yourself with thick clay? That's what Habakkuk wants to know. Okay? We all want to know.
I have the sense this worries you very much. Over the long run, of course it does. We're borrowing from future generations.
You're borrowing from future generations, and Babylon don't have no future, man. Okay? And they've always been borrowing from future generations. That's why you're in debt this much. He's been lading himself with thick clay, but there's going to be no generation. You're going to war. Okay?
It's time for us to get back to putting a priority on fiscal sustainability, and sooner is better than later.
It's not going to happen. The U.S. is on an unsustainable fiscal path. Exactly. You are. You are, man. This is not Apple, Tesla, or even Nvidia. It's the U.S. national debt. Ah, man. Crazy. Elon Musk criticizes Trump one big beautiful bill, calling it a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it. And we read a little bit about that. That's how foolish it is. Foolish it is. I count Elon Musk as a good friend, and congressional Republicans appreciate everything he has done to put a spotlight on waste, fraud, and abuse in government. Now that Doge has identified wasteful spending, it is being quantified by the administration and codified by the administration, by Congress via the recessions process and appropriations process. Yeah, but nothing's gonna work here, man. When did he post this? It says it will massively increase the already gigantic budget deficit to 2.5 trillion and burden America's citizens with crushingly unsustainable debt. Ooh, so this is what the Lord's been exposing. Esau, you being exposed, man. And ultimately, this place is going to be destroyed. And let me go into this Chinese um, fungus, Michigan, something like that. I don't know. News. Okay, 16 hours ago. Chinese couple charged with smuggling crop killing fungus into the U.S. Detroit federal prosecutors accused 2 Chinese scientists of smuggling into the United States a dangerous fungus that causes a disease in crops so that one of them could research the pathogen at a University of Michigan laboratory. So here it is, these 2 Chinese Moabites bringing in a fungus that can put that causes a disease in crops. Youngwen Juan, 33, and Zunyang Yuloi, 34, are charged with conspiracy, smuggling goods into the United States, false statements, and visa fraud, according to a criminal complaint filed in U.S. District Court in Detroit. The complaint affidavit and other documents were unsealed in June 3. And this is the type of, you got all different type of, these kids are fucking terrorists, man. Fuck. We had this Harvard student, as a matter of fact, had frog embryos. What the fuck are you find frog embryos in Harvard? Listen to this shit. This is old, but not very old. This was recent. It says a Harvard Medical School researcher, Ksenia Petrova, was detained and later charged with smuggling frog embryos into the United States after failing to declare them at a Logan International Airport. Petrova was returning from a trip to France with the samples, which she claimed were not dangerous or biohazardous and were for her research group's leader. She was initially held by Immigration and Customs Enforcement and later transferred to federal custody with a J-1 visa revoked. A federal judge later ordered her release from ICE custody, though she remains subject to criminal charges. So what the fuck are these people doing, man? Okay. Frog embryos. Now we got funguses that can cause diseases in crops. This is why you ought to be destroyed. The two researchers were in a romantic relationship in July 2024 when Liu entered the U.S. with small bags of Fusarium Graminearum. That's what it is, man. Okay, in his backpack, according to the, and you carrying some shit like that in your backpack, Moab, you're a fucking idiot, man. I'm telling you, these people are so smart, they're dumb. Harvard University going on Logan Airport with frog embryos for a damn, so she can research it. And you could be, you know, what the fuck is wrong with you people, man? These prestigious schools. You're in Detroit. I believe this is Michigan. It's not, yeah, Michigan. University of Michigan. Wolverines. Foolishness. Okay? So now that Duck wants to get rid of foreign exchange students from this place. Good. Get them the fuck out of here. You're stupid as hell, man. You really are. High level dummies. Who gave you access to touch this type of shit? You idiot. And who allowed you to go into Michigan? Shame on University of Michigan. Shame on all of it, man. Shameful. Okay. Habakkuk 2:16 that are filled with shameful glory. Yeah, you know, oh, I'm going to University of Michigan. I'm going to Harvard University. Yeah, but you bring a frog embryos and now you're getting arrested because you're a dumbass. Why would you have your students put themselves in the line of being persecuted? Or bring these frog, you're $1 billion. You can't have it go through the proper channels. It's really the school's fault. Why would they have you send it? Idiots. Idiots. Drink thou also and let thy foreskin be uncovered. We're uncovering you for how stupid you really are. Even them writing about what you're doing is dumb, but because you're following the so-called white man, this is how this is everything's out of order. It doesn't make any sense. You had to fly frog embryos from a foreign country. There's plenty of frogs here, you dumbass. That you could have worked in an environment to do your research. This is why there's plagues going out through the world, because you got idiots like this, and then you can blame it on a student. You can blame it on an employee. No, it's Esau, Edom. Okay, the cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. Okay, and there's already a shameful spewing being on your glory. Okay, all these prestigious colleges, all the way up to this country, man. You're getting a shameful glory. You glorify yourself in this foolishness. Okay. Um, where am I? I was somewhere over here. These Chinese. In his backpack, Fusarium, Graminearum in his backpack. According to the complaint, Liu later admitted that he planned to use the fungus for research at a laboratory at the University of Michigan where Jian worked. Okay, so that's what's going on. This is today's news. Both Jian and Liu had researched the pathogen as university students in China. According to the complaint, the fungus, which scientific literature classifies as a potential agro-terrorism weapon, can be used to target food crops in affidavit states. So why would you have that in your backpack, you fool? Okay. Now, I'm not saying that this is not an event that it could be all fake. Okay, number one. Two, it could be, China could be using them as some op. Okay, that's all possible. But you're a dumbass if any of these things are true. Your stupid ass still goes to Michigan. You still were accepted. They created an environment where this could happen. Esau in Moab working together. It's their fault. Okay, they're the ones in anything that happens in this place. You have a laboratory to that they create all this foolishness, folly. This is why you're gonna be destroyed. You can't rule anymore, Esau. Your let me just grab it because I'm tongue tied of how stupid the so-called white man is. Isaiah 19 and 14. The Lord have mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. Yeah, are you drunk? What will cause you to be so stupid, man? Okay, but this is that perverse spirit that the Lord mingled. Okay, and this is supposed to be, and he's doing it in these colleges, man. You see a very perverse spirit. They're coming out, they're protesting for shit that had nothing to do with them. Okay, they're at school. Okay, why can't you protest outside of school? Because the Lord mingled that perverse spirit. They have caused Egypt to err in every work. This is an error, bringing in fungus from another country, and you study here like a fool. Now you got charges, just like that Harvard University student, charged, kicked out, no degree. You still owe that money to let's grab this, to go astray of intoxication. Okay. Mentally and morally misled. That's what you are, man. You misled. Seduce, deceive, stray. That's what's going on with you. To err, to wander, to go astray. That's what you're walking in. You're going the wrong way, man. Okay, and the Lord is causing that to happen, bringing a potential agro-terrorism weapon, and can be used to target food crops. The affidavit states so. Used to target food crops. The Lord said He's bringing a famine. He's going to increase the staff of He's going to break the staff with bread. The toxic fungus causes head blight, a disease of wheat, barley, maize, and rice, and is responsible for billions of dollars in economic losses worldwide each year. Hold on. We just read Revelation, the 6th chapter. The wheat, the barley, but hurt not the oil and the wine. Okay, and It says a measure of wheat for a penny and 3 measures of barley for a penny. We looked into this word penny. It means a day's pay. But it says, see not, hurt not the oil and the wine. Talking about the understanding of the Bible. This is when you're supposed to get it before this day comes. But it's going to be a famine of the word too. And guess what? You ain't going to have the knowledge because you haven't been seeking it. Let's read that again. The toxic fungus causes head blight, a disease of wheat, barley, maize, and rice, and is responsible for billions of dollars in economic losses worldwide each year. And they were bringing more of that shit here to study it. Study it in China, fool. The U.S. Attorney's Office for Eastern District of Michigan said in a news release the toxins the fungus produces can cause vomiting, liver damage, and reproductive defects in livestock and humans. How detrimental it could be to hurt your staff of bread, man. Okay. Gian appeared in federal court on June 3rd, which is yesterday, and was temporarily detained. A detention hearing is set for June 5th, which is tomorrow, according to court records. Attorney Sinad Ramovic, who represented Gian at her initial appearance, had no comment. No attorney was listed in court records for Liu, who is believed to be in China and remains at large. Oh, he dipped. He was out of there. In a statement on June 3rd, the University of Michigan said it condemns any actions that seek to cause harm, threaten national security, or undermine the university's critical public mission. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Okay. And you know what? Maybe, who knows? Maybe they weren't supposed to bring it. It doesn't say. Why would he bring it to? Maybe he wanted to do something there. Who knows? It is important to note that the university has received no funding from the Chinese government in relation to research conducted by the accused individuals. The university added, we have and will continue to cooperate with federal law enforcement in its ongoing investigation and prosecution. So they're saying they don't even have anything like that. And they didn't have no funding from China. So what the fuck were these Moabites doing here? Okay, ultimately the Lord sent them here to do whatever they came to do. All right, and so we got to look out for these things. And I know Russia just came up with some type of Russia BTC, something like that. They're doing something with breaking Russian central bank and finance ministry announced national Bitcoin and crypto exchange. So the Russian central bank, man. So let me see. Russia's central bank revealed Bitcoin is its top performing investment in 2025. Saudi Arabia's central bank revealed it holds strategy stock as indirect Bitcoin exposure. Yeah, because this dude buys mad Bitcoin all the time. Okay. I forgot his name. Let's see. Has Russia started to utilize alternative payment instruments in international trade? What's this? This is we've passed new laws as an experimental policy. You can now utilize Bitcoin, which this is a long time ago. But yeah, so that's 1 hour ago. Let's see what he says.
Никто. А использование других
Hold on. Let me try to read it.
биткоин.
Who can ban Bitcoin? Nobody.
Кто может запретить? Никто. А использование
And who can prohibit the use of other electronic means of payment? Nobody.
других электронных средств расчета. Кто может запретить? Никто, потому что
Because these are new technologies.
это новые технологии. И чего бы
And no matter what happens to the dollar, these tools will develop one way or another.
не было, чего бы ни происходило с долларом, эти инструменты так или иначе будут развиваться, потому что
Because everyone will strive to reduce costs and increase reliability.
все будут стремиться к тому, чтобы снижать издержки и повышать надежность. Биткоин.
Okay, so he's for it, man. And Bitcoin infrastructure is going global. Why does that matter? Revelation 13. And and 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. Okay, this word mark goes into charagma. Okay, charagma, a stamp and imprinted mark of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as a badge of the followers of the Antichrist. The mark branded upon horses. This is the MOTB. The mark branded upon horses. A horse is a beast. Okay. And it's going into the RFID microchip. This little bad boy right here. Okay. It's going in your right hand or in your forehead. Okay. This is the time. And the elders at Dallas just did a wonderful video. Spirit had him pull over Edomite and asked if he would take it. And he said, yeah, that's where the world's going. So he knows. He knows. Okay? They know. You don't. You're a fool if you don't understand what's going on here. But this is what Revelation, the 13th chapter, is talking about. Charagma. And then when you go into the root word, charax, and what is it called? A pale or stake, a palisade. Okay? And what is that pale or stake or palisade? It's talking about this tool right here that they use to implement. They put this thing inside of this palisade and they put it into your right hand. Okay? And there's another procedure called the Neuralink on how they put it into your forehead, which is your brain. This is the time we're getting to. All right? So we got to be building up our faith to the best of our ability, keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments. And getting used to at least having the understanding of what is written in the Bible, learning about the scriptures. Revelation 13 and 17, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So no man might buy or sell. So if you can't participate in this digital, because when everything goes digital, it's easy for them to tell you, hey, you got to take this device. So you can't, whatever they excuse they use, no cyber attacks, or whatever, however they're gonna implement it, just like they did in 2020. They got your ass to go over there and get a jab shot multiple times. So they're crafty, they're subtle. He's the devil. Okay, don't fall for it like Eve, man. Get this wisdom now, or the number of his name. Okay, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name, because in this device, there's a product code. Okay, it goes into grapho. Okay, let's see if I can find it. Is it grapho? The number of his name. Arithmos, a fixed definite number, an indefinite number, a multitude. Which is going into the universal product code, so they basically gonna brand you, man. It's like something they can scan. That's what it's going into, man. Okay. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 603 score and 6, which is 666. Okay. That's what you're gonna be pretty much taking, and it's in the universal product code. Product code. 12-digit barcode used to identify a specific product. This is marking you as a beast. You're a product of Esau. And 66. Let me see if I can find a good image. There it goes. Perfect. That's where it's gonna have in the writing. Okay. As a matter of fact, let me see if I missed something in Mark. Because it goes Karax and then Grapho. Okay, Grapho. To write with reference to the form of the letters. Okay, to express in written characters. These are written characters. Okay, this is where you're gonna be getting the 666. They're gonna be able to scan that. Your right hand on your forehead when you go to the shop market. I forgot the name of it. Whole Foods, and you scan. What are they scanning? They're scanning this. Okay, that's gonna be a way where he can track you. You're gonna know how many people there are. This is the Karax. Okay, this is the Grapho. All right, and this is the Karagma. All right. So that's the time we leading into, brothers and sisters, and that we need to prepare ourselves for. And the Lord told us about this. So why not seek the Lord while he may be found? All right. But I'm gonna end it right there. Lord's will, that was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakwadash, Shalom.